Going. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is Aligning with Success, and Mike DiMuccio is my name, and very familiar faces. And I'm hoping that maybe some of you will be watching this on playback. We'll get the benefit of that in hindsight. So we just had a launch of a couple of things. First of all, our first mid-month event. Yes, happy birthday, Dee. I'm distracted by the chat. Please stop chatting, guys. You're confusing me. So we had our launch of our mid-month event. This was the first of 12 of them for the year. And I wanted to reacquaint you with the purpose of the mid-month event and more specifically, the audience that you're going to have at that mid-month event. So depending on where they are at in the process will determine how they respond to the information you present. And we were double teaming on this particular event to launch the business opportunity presentation, figuring that probably whoever you had there has had the first round or should have in it at any point in time. But if our lock-in event follows the process, then you'll see that it's the last event in the conversation cycle. So people will have had, let me just switch this to speaker view. Okay, so people will have had the first conversation, which is all about the 5 pillars of health and why we're involved and why they might consider being involved. The how conversation, which essentially is the nuts and bolts of the business opportunity presentation that we went over. However, assuming that they've already had that, then the last conversation is the what conversation, which is the ins and outs of how to get the business going. The lock-in event is really designed to just simply lock it up. And so it wouldn't be a surprise to me that if you had somebody who had not even been to the first conversation at Saturday's meeting, listening to that business opportunity presentation, the way it was put together, they would be like, well, I didn't hear anything about the products. I'd like to know more about the products. You understand that it wasn't intended to be that. So depending on who you had as the audience, that presentation does different things. So we'll get into the actual presentation, but the point of the mid-month event is for you to really have a meeting place, a gathering place where you can have people who are at various stages of the process, but primarily those towards the end of the process making a definitive decision. And the decision is the transition from, again, my handy dandy notebook, the transition from being a customer consultant over to being a partner. That mindset shift from going from here to here means they have some reason to make a commitment. And so the content, the information that you want to be pulling together at an event like that should presuppose that they're at that decision point. Now, anybody who gains access to that meeting who's not been through the first 2 or 3 steps in the process, again, they're going to have a bit of a challenge. Let me switch again to gallery view. So they'll have a bit of a challenge with the information. So what I recommend you do when you do a month-end event is you do have some bookends, some opportunities for people to learn about the product, some opportunities for people to hear about some testimonies about the products, and so forth. Don't tailor your meeting to that, but just have that as part of the equation so that they're able to pick up what they may have left off. Because if they're asking questions, this is a good sign. If they're saying, I would have liked to have known more about the product, this is a good thing. So it's important to understand that each event in our calendar ought to be moving people forward, especially those people who we need to make a decision before the end of the month, a real decision, so that the following month you have launch partners. You have people that you are launching and helping them get a quick start in their business. So that's sort of the emphasis of that. Carlos, hello. Welcome to our call. I've been waiting for you.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
That's okay. That's all right. Feel free to just be a fly on the wall.
Good, thank you.
Maybe we'll have a chance at another time to carry a conversation forward. Madeline mentioned a little bit about you, and so look forward to our conversation. Meet some of the members of the Nikken family who we meet on Monday nights at this hour as a way to continue the education and the mentoring that goes with building a Nikken business, an international Nikken business.
Great.
So getting back to the strategy then for the mid-month event, it's just simply that. It's to round out the month and pull everybody together so that decisions can be made, important decisions. So let me go to the presentation and some of the bullets about that. Again, if you've got some insights, and I want to ask you if you've been using this presentation, or if you started using it, then you're probably better equipped to actually have some suggestions or some comments about it, because I've been living with this thing for over a month already, tweaking it and massaging it and so forth with Ben. So the details are there that we need to get across. So let me mention a couple of things. I'm going to switch views. I'm not sure what you're seeing on your screen. I'm only seeing me on my screen right now. And you
first slide, Michael.
What are you seeing? And are you seeing the
A better way, the first slide.
No, okay. The video screen. Are you seeing me, or are you seeing more people on the screen?
More people, so it's not on.
Okay, so you can control, just an FYI, when you're on a Zoom meeting like this, you have control over the video camera, the way it shows up, the number of pictures that show up. So if you get your cursor over the actual live video feed, you can choose one of a few boxes. The thumbnail, the large active speaker window, and the small active speaker window. If you go to the small active speaker window, that'll keep the window out of your way, and you'll hear the speaker. Which, by the way, for that reason, if you are live on sound, just keep in mind that the camera will be switching back and forth to whoever's the dominant sound on this. But anyway, we don't have to go through this as if it's a live meeting or a live presentation. Just want to cover a few of the points. So let me just go ahead and switch back to this so I get a visual on you guys.
When you do that, Mike, may I just mention that if you minimize the gallery, the view up there,
yeah,
then it doesn't interfere with the slides in terms of blocking them out when you see a replay.
Yeah, it's okay. We don't need to worry about the replay of this. We've already got the presentation on video, and it's in the PowerPoint form. Just wanted to dialogue a little bit about it, go through this. The concept here is a better way. I mean, essentially what we're trying to show people is a better way, a more clear path to a life in balance. We included, because of the dialogue that had been circulating among, especially the launch partners, this idea of the triple bottom line, this video that had been circulating a couple of months ago that was really impactful. The idea that people are looking for more than just profit. Profit is really about making a difference in multiple ways. One, to the people that are part of this, meaning a meaningful difference in their life. And we define that as the 5 pillars. A meaningful contribution where the planet's concerned, and in this case, specifically Nikken, we address 2 very big concerns in this presentation. One is the financial stress that people are under, given the conditioning of how they've arrived at the way they make money, and then the physical stress that people are under. Again, once again, the stress of life in general creates the burden, but then there's the toxic burden on our lives as a result of the advancement in technology and the world we're living in. But also, and we're addressing, is the conditioning. We are conditioned to not take care of ourselves, and therefore we are prone to becoming ill, which serves, the illness industry, if you will. And so if the arguments in government and so forth don't address this issue head on, then they just keep talking about how they're going to carve up the profits. They're not really addressing why are people becoming ill, and how do we avoid that? How do we prevent that? Where's the education? Where's the credibility? Where's the support? In fact, quite frankly, there's a lot of government bureaucracy interfering with the free flow of information that would otherwise provide people with an alternative solution to health issues, because it gets in the way of the profits of the pharmaceutical industry. We know that as a reality. So what we're trying to do is give people have a conversation with people to show them what is it that we bring to the world? What is the value that we bring to the world where the planet is concerned that warrants this being profitable, that this is a profitable venture? So we're making a difference in people's lives, particularly those involved with us in terms of the 5 pillars of health. We're making a difference to society at large with respect to the value that we're bringing, the shift in consciousness and the practical solutions, and of course the profits that go with that. So that's sort of the theme throughout this, which is why I was really glad we had 3 people presenting. Bob, I'm going to mute you because your movement is a little distracting. Thank you. So most of you who've been on any of the presentations know this slide is really about showing people that big changes don't happen in our life typically overnight. It's the constant movement towards something that eventually becomes the behavior and the habits that lead to those trajectories in life. And where our health and our income is concerned, most people are on a trajectory where they are likely to become stressed. And if we want to change that, we need to use this compound effect in our favor, not against us. And so we're talking about what are the choices that we can make on a daily basis that move us in the right direction toward stronger finances and stronger health. And this 27 months that's on the screen, by the way, that's 10,000 hours. I think there's a book about that. 10,000 hours makes you an expert in anything if you're doing it for 10,000 hours. So 27 months can be a very small window of time in someone's life, but a very dramatic window in time in terms of the change in someone's life. Now, I know most of you know at least someone who has maybe been diagnosed with cancer. And within 27 months, they can go from diagnosis to death. It's pretty serious. So we know that it's a short span of time that can make a big change. If we're going in the right direction, it'll be a big change in our favor. If we're going in the wrong direction, it'll be a big change against us. So we want to help people recognize that nothing happens by accident. It's a matter of the daily conditioning or the choices that we make, the behaviors and the habits. And we have control to change that. And that's why the Nikken choice is a great choice, because it shows us we can make a change through this concept of active wellness and collaborative entrepreneurship. Active wellness, of course, addresses the physical aspect of well-being, and collaborative entrepreneurship addresses the financial side of the equation. So, So we have the, by the way, you saw how that jumped into the film, the Nikken video? The PowerPoint has it embedded. The PDF will also have it embedded once we figure out how to do that. It's not far away, but we'll have the video available so that when you click, the video will play, or we'll give you the option to play. So the new definition for success. This is a new slide. First of all, there's been some comments about the 5 pillars. Don't be so hung up on it being one way or another. Remember, it's the concept that matters. And we're trying to make these slides a little bit more versatile for a larger audience so that we're not usually using graphics that are dated. Even though they may be things that we're familiar with, they're very dated. So this one talks about a new definition for success, because the old definition has led us down a path that leads us to a lot of stress. So the idea that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, that being the balance in the 5 pillars. So we're addressing what it is that we're trying to create in terms of the new condition. We now have a goalpost, if you will. We know the direction we want to be moving in. So then all we have to do is look at our choices. Well, the choices that we've been making thus far have led to a very stressful life. And the number one source of stress is finance. Now, this slide gets into how did we get here? How is it that the world, for the most part, 95% of the population only sharing 5% of the wealth, with only 5% of the population having 95% of the wealth? And the answer is because if you did what you were told, you got to get an education. And your education taught you either how to be a good employee or maybe start a small business, maybe. But either way, if you're on the left-hand side, you're trading time for money. And that's why people are financially stressed. That equation can only lead to one outcome: financial insecurity or financial stress for the majority. Whereas on the right side, which is the minority, this is a different equation. They learn how to leverage time and money and compound it. That concept is what needs to be learned by the masses if they want to recondition their situation concerning finances. So this is an opportunity for us to talk about how did we get here and how do we change it? We got to go from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. Does anybody have a bright idea? We do. In fact, it's a few people who are coming up with these ideas. We look at the new economy. The new economy is one that is very different than traditional business. So if you've got people saying, well, this doesn't look traditional, it better not. Because if it looks traditional, it's going to go by the wayside like so many of them are going. Check out General Motors compared to Uber. So we use an illustration. The reason why this one is important is because what made Uber big, Uber successful, is they created a system for people to become self-employed. So this is the point you want to make here. The thing that made Uber be able to grow and scale so quickly was their system is so efficient that they can help anybody, almost anybody, be self-employed with a turnkey operation in no time. So that idea of having a system that's turnkey, that anybody can leverage, is the key to growing a business in the modern age. It's no longer about employing people, it's about self-employing people. So that's a big bullet there. The next piece, is this one. Amazon. The comparison between Amazon and Walmart, who sell basically everything you buy, commercial goods, is one is brick and mortar and one is online click. And clearly, in the name of efficiency, Amazon is soon to be, and is already, the main supplier, but is soon to be, world dominating in terms of where you buy your goods, your household goods. So if you're going to get into a business or you're going to offer a business, you ought to be in that click, environment, that online environment. So that's the point there. So we've got two main points that are being made here. That the gig economy is being fueled by people looking for a better way to be employed or self-employed. And those who are providing self-employment opportunities, and in particular, online environments, are growing incredibly quick. So if we were going to get involved in that option, we want to have that as a way of doing business, and that's Nikken. The whole Nikken model is to leverage these ideas. And so Nikken fits into someone's life. It's turnkey. It's a great gig, and it teaches people how to leverage and compound, which is that thing that we need to learn to do to move to the right-hand side of the equation. The system itself is streamlined and efficient, and we've gone through this slide. It's just a simple way. Let's call it the Uber way of getting somebody involved with a very large and successful company that has built an infrastructure like Uber has internationally to support somebody who wants to become self-employed. What is it that we offer the world? A certified Nikken wellness home, an idea. Something that will give people the potential to move in the direction of better health, this active wellness concept. And from a business standpoint, what's so amazing about having a product that is endless is that it creates an endless stream of income. You don't want a business where you have one product that becomes obsolete. You want a business that has a living product line, something that has an ongoing capacity to be useful in someone's home. And so what this provides is an idea that the Nikken product line is not just a product, but it's an idea that has a beginning and no end. And it moves into someone's home forever and a day in various ways. So that creates an ongoing stream of income. Even an Uber driver, they pick up a passenger. They don't keep getting paid from that same passenger. So this is an advantage. We have a purpose-driven business model that's basically driven around this idea of create a circle of influence and expand that circle of influence. The circle of influence is find 3 people who see the idea, value the idea, and want to work with you to expand the idea, while at the same time, each person addresses the needs of 5 families, helping them to begin and create that wellness home experience. As we take that idea and expand that idea by working with a team of people, that can grow into something quite extraordinary. This slide is just to remind people that even if you're new to business, even if you're new to Nikken, you're going to be supported. This is not going to happen by itself. It's going to happen in collaboration to build a purpose-driven community. So the support begins with the people that you're working personally with, but it doesn't end there. There's ongoing support, calls, et cetera, a system to support growth. And if this is not, I mean, this is the key to Uber success as a system. It's a key to McDonald's success. So this is the success system we're talking about. And this is a slide that Ben introduced that I like because it really helps us understand the potential of each of us. Even though we may not see our own potential, you can't really measure it. Like you can't measure how many apples are in that tree, in that apple, in the seeds of that apple. And so even if you may not think big at this time, you just don't know where this can lead, because it can lead into something quite extraordinary, as some of us have experienced. That little seed of an idea, that core, became an orchard. And this is the one graph or picture that I like that encapsulates the 3 Ps, the triple bottom line, very, very succinctly. It's also a business plan. So I want to just take a second here to show you what this plan is. What we have here, let me just get me my pointer out. Let's see if I can figure out how to use the pointer. Remote control, no. Not sure I know how to use the pointer. Try that one more time. Remote control, no. Okay, so I don't know how to use the pointer in this modality, but can you see my cursor on the screen? Oh, you can. Okay, well, then if you use my cursor, then that's fine. All right, so what we have is this kernel of an idea, this seed of an idea, the idea that each one of us finds 3 people who will share in this idea, expand this idea with us, and those are 5 wellness homes that we're giving birth to. Now, those 3, remember the teach 3 to reach 3, we're teaching these 3 to have this kernel of idea of their own, which means each of these people will have 3 of their own consultants, that's 9, and each of these people will have 5 of their own wellness homes, which is 45. So in the next iteration of this, the next generation, there's 9 consultants and 45 wellness homes. In the next generation, these 3 teach these 3 how to create 5 wellness homes, and now we have 135 on the next generation, and so it goes. So you're seeing these rings of expansion are really generations. We're giving birth to one generation that gives birth to another generation, give birth to another generation, and nobody's doing any more than anyone else. The kernel of the idea is 3 business builders and 5 wellness homes. And as long as you continue to nurture that, that's going to create that ongoing experience. Now, this is based on 100 commissionable volume points per month running through these wellness homes only. And yet, look at the income that's being generated. So if somebody's looking for a part-time income of an extra $500 a month, up to a very lucrative CEO income, then here's the business they're building. It's defined. It's not arbitrary. It's not waving your hands and saying, "Oh, you just talked to a lot of people." And so I don't find people respect that kind of an answer when it comes to show me the money. This is how I can show somebody the money. I can say, this is the organization that we're building. This is what the organization does. These are the people that we're working with. And this is what this organization does to make a difference in the world. It creates wellness homes. Every wellness home has a beginning and no end, which is going to create cash flow. that we talked about. And so that cash flow and that volume creates promotions in the business. By the way, those are qualifying ranks. So by the third or fourth generation, here's where we're sitting: platinum, and then diamond, and then royal diamond. That's the income associated with 100 commissionable volume points going through each of those wellness homes. Each of those wellness homes are the 45, the 135, the 405, plus the consultants themselves. It's everybody has a wellness home. So how many of you on this call have 100 points a month going through your wellness home? And if you just look at your nutritionals, for instance, that's a very reasonable and modest, I think, approach to the question of what does a wellness home look like and what's the consumption in a wellness home. So this shows somebody a business. And since this is a business opportunity presentation, we've got to give them something that they can see and they can visualize, and then they can move toward creating. And where does it all begin? It begins with the first three. Then we have, of course, our compensation plan, which fills in the details of that. Here's how the income is being generated. It's being generated through retail profits, cash bonuses, lifestyle and incentives, personal rebates, group overrides, leadership bonuses, and throw in on top of that luxury convention cruises and so forth. So if there's not enough here for you, I don't know where you're going to find more. But if you're looking for a better way, you're looking at it right now. So let's look at, and then this is where we get into the details of the wellness home. What exactly do we mean by active wellness? What exactly do we mean by the wellness home? Well, here's what we mean. Small choices with consistency and time will make a huge change in someone's life. So we've got to create a situation that encourages those choices, that encourages that behavior that subsequently becomes the new habit. Right now, this is the situation we're faced with. Stress of all kinds. Some we have control over, most we don't. The trends are affecting our children. So if we don't take some measure of accountability and responsibility, it's a disaster. So the answer is we've got to take responsibility for self-care. Healthy by choice, not by chance. We call that active wellness. We choose active wellness. And so again, there's that video. So active wellness is an opportunity for us to get involved in our health. But in Nikken's approach to this, it's a balanced approach. It's a holistic approach. So it's not a one-trick pony. It's not one thing that makes you ill. It's not going to be one thing that makes you well. So the Nikken product line is all-encompassing. It's to experience an environment committed to well-being. So the moment you say yes to your wellness, the moment you say yes to a Nikken wellness home, you're saying yes to the experience, which is not a one-time thing. It's forever. It's a pathway. Our wellness home creates an environment of well-being, inspiring us to make healthier choices every day. I'll give you a simple example. You go to get a glass of water from your Nikken PiMag waterfall. How often do you do that? As often as you drink water, which is every day. And so what is that doing? On some level, it's physical, but there's also a subconscious thing going on. You're actively choosing to drink that water versus your tap water. So your subconscious mind is now being trained or conditioned to seek the better solution, even though there's two right in front of you. Turn on the tap or drink your PiMag water from your waterfall. And that little ding, ding, ding that's going on a subconscious level gets multiplied every time you introduce a new product into your life, to your Nikken wellness home. So the wellness home literally is operating on two levels. One is the physical, the actual active thing you're doing, ingesting a Nikken consumable, taking a shower in the water, in the shower unit or whatever, going to sleep on your Nikken bed. These are the physical. But the non-physical, or the mechanism that's operating on your consciousness, is the fact that you're making a choice, and your choice is being held in the subconscious mind, it becomes now the habit. And so you'll do what I did. You'll find yourself one day going to a buffet, choosing whatever is green on the buffet, because somehow that's all you're thinking about these days. So something will happen to you through this process that makes you just better, aware, and better at making choices that are going to help you. So the Nikken practical solutions are these. They're very practical, tangibles, and they create, of course, cash flow, deliverables. But more importantly, they create an environment inside and out that enables us to become conscientious about our health, and therefore the new trajectory is set and we are on the course to creating a better life and living a life in balance. So we get to the choices and then we're done. That's the presentation. You can unmute.
That was better than 45 minutes, Michael. That was wonderful.
Well, again, it'll come down to, and let me give you the gap in time, by the way, for your benefit. Why is it short or long? Number one, it was the first run through for 3 people doing it in their own part. So that was one.
In 3 countries.
Yeah. The second thing was we're trying to help the field embrace this.
Right.
And so the detail, we're not giving you notes to go with the PowerPoints. So what it is that you need to be talking about needs to be in the PowerPoint. So that tends to make it a little bit more lengthy because I can paraphrase something because I know it. But if you don't know it, how do I transfer me to you or that information? So it's going to be a little lengthier at first, but then you're going to find yourself taking a whole slide and then just finding that one thing you want to say about it. And that's going to be the point that you put front and center stage. So it will become more streamlined, just like when I'm paraphrasing now. I can still deliver the presentation, say the things that need to be said. I don't have to cover every point. But once I understand what it's trying to say, based on all those points, I'm going to paraphrase it into something that makes sense to me. So you'll find this PowerPoint will go from this to this, depending on the speed you want to go through, because you'll be able to paraphrase. But I think,
Mike, will there be notes that we
No.
will be able to take out what we want from the notes?
Nope, unless you feel like doing them. So that's why that's why it took so long to put this out, because we're trying to minimize, not maximize. Even though it appears, oh, this is a longer presentation, it actually isn't. It's longer because it's newer. It'll get shorter as you do it, as you paraphrase and start to focus on those points. But the most important thing is we're laying down some new ideas. For instance, the cash flow engine slide. That was something that was introduced because we want you guys to understand the business of Nikken. The fact that we have and how to create how to tie the wellness home into a business. How do you turn this idea, which is a good idea in terms of a product, when you're talking to a business person, they want to understand, how does this translate into this, into cash flow? And so now you have one slide that says it's an endless process. It has a beginning and no end. Here's why. And now what happens, think about this. What happens to the person who's presenting that information? What happens to the person who's receiving that information in terms of what's going on psychologically in adopting a wellness home? What are we creating as a subtext? It has a beginning and no end. We're creating a consciousness of customers for life. It's embedded in the presentation.
We're also creating the conceptual awareness of a lifestyle and not product sales, and not another network marketing scam or whatever.
Excellent point, Madeline. Excellent point.
And that next slide, the global impact slide, is really a masterpiece. Really a masterpiece, because it goes from the cash engine to what happens with that cash engine. It's just a masterpiece.
Thank you. Great. That was an inspired idea, I'm sure.
Mike, Bob and I have listened. We've already listened to this presentation more than once. And, you know, even though, I mean, I was not bored, I was not looking at my watch, even though it ran over, you know, the 30 minutes that we all expected. The more we listen to this, we're going to be able to paraphrase it and put it into our own words and pick and choose what, you know, we feel are the most important points. And also to be able to streamline it to who we're talking to.
Correct.
You know, I mean, if we're talking to a customer, if we're talking to a business person, you know, we can pick and choose the points to bring out, and, you know, where we need to eliminate information, where we need to add information, or, you know, bring out the information.
Where you focus on. By the way, did you notice that the first 20 slides are the business opportunity, and then the last 10 slides is the product presentation? So if you just wanted to do a product presentation, just go to that slide, start from there. And the way the video will be embedded, it will be embedded both times on the 5 pillar slide. So you can play it maybe in the first one and skip it on the second, or skip it on the first, play it on the second, or just use the second. So it's put together so that that one video will get played when we introduce the life and balance concept, and you play the video and they have an understanding from Nikken's point of view what that means, and then you carry on from that.
Michael, you might ask Carlos what he thinks. He has an extensive marketing. He's a consultant to corporations on marketing. What he thinks of this.
Is this your first view of this, Carlos?
It is. Yep.
Oh, okay, great. So there you have it in a nutshell. Our business opportunity presentation, literally in a nutshell.
No, it's fantastic. I mean, it's interesting to see. It's interesting to see the like you said, the turnkey aspect of the presentation. Really, an iterative sort of process for individuals that it's you can lean on it heavily when you're learning it, but you also have the flexibility as you know it to just breeze through it, because it's clear that you're familiar with it. Because in some cases, you were just describing what's on the slide and not reading what's on the slide. So I think it's an interesting tool that it is what you want it to be.
Great. Well, thank you. That's excellent feedback from someone who does marketing as a profession. But which, by the way, I do too, Carlos, in my own way.
And if I could share with the group, Michael, I've interested in the Hispanic market expansion strategy, have been since 2011 when Gustavo came to this area and we had the initial launch. We have probably about 30% Latinos in our geographic area, Western Cleveland and Lorain County. So I met Mr. Fuentes on LinkedIn, and it was just one short conversation with a short note. He agreed to meet me at 2 o'clock today. He had 15 minutes, and here he is tonight. So what I did was asked for help. And so he's gathering information to see how he can help, and that's where we are right now.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, we're going to need some help in translating this presentation into Spanish. So we have one version going into German as of today. So that's already started. So that's great. Yes, Dee.
Maybe it's been said many times and I missed it, but for some reason I heard it tonight when you were talking about the endless stream of income and it being a living product line. And the living part, not just that it's living income ongoing, but all the products support life, and which adds to our quality of living. So I really love that phrase. Thank you.
You're welcome. And here's the other thing about it. The product line is dynamic. I know that we tend to get your favorite product, and then you find out that Nikken's going to discontinue it, and you're like, wait, what? No. You have to remember that products, in order for the company to stay relevant and profitable, it has to be able to work with its inventory, manage its product line, and be diverse as well, innovative. So we are the microcosm of Nikken. We have to be equally flexible. I still use my Nikken cookware, even though I can't buy it or sell it. So I'm happy that I was involved when that came out for a season or two, but it was a seasonal thing. It wasn't something that was going to stick around. But there are some things in the Nikken product line that are simply staples. They just go through various iterations of innovation. So just be flexible, because again, the company has to be relevant, and relevant means in the world. And when we're dealing with companies like Amazon, which is in our lives, everybody's life, then, staying relevant when you got that kind of level of competition means being very innovative and discontinuing things that are not too innovative. They may be great, they may be useful, but they may not necessarily fill the need of innovation where we rely on being. It's important that Nikken, like Apple, for instance, Apple's whole claim to fame, its whole business model is based on innovation. If they cease to innovate, they're dead. They'll be around for a season or two more, and that's that. So we have to be flexible in the way we view the Nikken product line from our business perspective. I know as a consumer, you love all the products. You want everybody to have the benefit of all the products, but we've got to also be the business mind of Nikken because we're the marketing arm. Yes, Suzanne.
I just want to say thanks for going through this and giving us some of your key points. I know that, I've done some of the business slides for this last whole year, and it isn't until recently that I garnered some of the keys between the Uber and the General Motors and the Amazon and the Walmart. Those are key points that you don't need to get into the details of the money, but to realize that Uber is the largest taxi company, and it's now larger than GM, that's been around for a long time. So those are things that now we have recording that we can go back and write our own notes and utilize those.
Yeah. And the reason why they're brought up is twofold. One is to show that there's a big change in the way business is happening in the world. And that change is leading to very fast-paced businesses, like growth that's very accelerated. And so that's one. And two, that if we're going to be in the offering of a business solution, if we're going to offer some kind of a solution, financial solution, we've got to be competitive. We've got to be able to match what's working for them. Well, what's working for Uber's a turnkey business model that allows a teenager to become self-employed driving a car, something that they already have access to. And the scalability of that made it possible for them to blow up really, really quick as a company. And so that's Nikken. Nikken has this infrastructure in multiple countries. You could scale up real quick. So that's one. The comparison to Amazon, again, it's just really simple. People are now buying online. And so our business model, even though we have durables and consumables, how do people access these products? And that is through our online portals. That makes it scalable, duplicatable, international. So that's a feature that we want to sell, that we are just as good, just as capable as any of these operations.
Mike, could you mention for Carlos, and maybe we have a bigger audience tonight, what's coming from Latin America in software support for us?
Well, I've had an opportunity to peruse the back office and the retail portal for consultants in Latin America, and that's where they first launched it. So the first iteration of the advanced technology for our web interface, back office, and the retail portal was there. The second launch, which I believe is in the process of happening right now, is in England for Europe, because that's where their hub is in the UK. And the next one will be in around March, April timeframe for Nikken North America. We'll see the first iteration of that web design. So what it is essentially a revamping of the portal, both back and front office. So what I saw, I was asked that question today. Can you tell me more about what you saw? I think it was Julie Tar was asking me. I said, first of all, it's graphically beautiful. I mean, it's just clean, simple design. The interface is very elegant. They eliminated all the buttons and all the options that are totally irrelevant. I don't know how many of you have actually ever gone through your back office and really clicked everything to see what everything does, because half of those things you just throw them in the garbage. They're not even needed. So to really highlight the things that we do need in terms of information, not because some technical guy likes playing with computers and he gave us this option and that option and this option, and it's just like, who needs all this? So they streamlined the data so that and then they gave us reports. There's reporting features that are much more useful when you're looking to manage your business in terms of your back office tools. So, and then of course the way they've designed the retail portal, now it would go up against any retail portal out there, so that people are not looking at a lot of noise. It's very clean, so that's what's happening. And so as we transition in 2018 to the new Nikken, it's going to be new in so many ways. And this is one of the most important aspects of what's new about it is our portal. Yeah, Ruth?
Just a quick question. With that report writer, were you able to tell, is that something we can customize? Like we can pull certain information, or there's set reports for us?
I didn't dig. No, I think some of there's filters. I didn't dig too far in. I just saw what I saw, and based on what I saw this is really good reporting. This is the kind of information that is useful and useful for everyone, rather than having to be really technically evolved to be able to use this stuff. It's information that you want to track. You do want to track. You want to delve into and start to get familiar with these numbers. I'll give an example. Gloria Nava does an event every January. She just did hers this past, I guess it was this last weekend before last. She does an awards type breakfast for her downline. All the new advances in silver, platinum, gold, diamond, whatever. She tracks all their volumes, all their group volumes. I don't know how she does this, because for me to be able to think about doing that kind of a report, but that's the kind of stuff that they're giving her access to. So she's able to do recognition because she's able to consolidate those numbers and rank them, so she can give the top 4 people an award and stuff like that. That's really good information.
And who's Gloria? Who is
Gloria Nava? She's a Royal Diamond on my 2nd level in Mexico. She's the #1 income earner in Nikken, Latin America. By the way, an FYI, again, reminder, tomorrow, 9 p.m. is the 3rd installment of our Hispanic launch. This one is going to be focused on the money. Rebecca Zabalia is doing she's the coordinator of this particular event. And she's really, really excellent. She's a pro. And then the 4th installment next Tuesday, the focus of that event, I believe, and I'm hopeful, I will influence to be getting started. So we will have 4 complete segments. One is an introduction, very exciting introduction. Second one is product focused. Third one is opportunity of the money focus. And then the 4th one is how to get people going, how to get started. So that way we'll have these presentations on video to be able to distribute or to just share with people who you want to get involved. And please do, don't wait. The first 2 have already been published. The 2 videos are on YouTube. They're at the royalalliance.com YouTube channel, so you'll see them there. Yeah, definitely share this information. We want to get the goal of month 1, January, was to identify potential leaders in the North American market of Spanish or Hispanic descent, so that we could identify where the pockets are and where the support will need to go. Well then, I can't believe 49 minutes has just come and gone. That was a really quick 49 minutes. Any final thoughts before we wrap up? We're always a little late. I'm sorry about that. This is my fault. I tend to blab. I make a sentence go from this to this. That's just my nature. Anyone
I'm so glad I'm not like you.
I just have one word. Wow.
Okay. Well, thank you, Lisa. Anybody going to be in Salt Lake?
I am.
Okay, Michelle, I'll see you in Salt Lake this weekend. And there will be a call next Monday, so I'll bring you up to date on what new innovations or discoveries have been released to us in Salt Lake. The CEO is going to be there. So I'm sure we're going to hear something new and exciting. I see some chat messages. I'm not sure if I missed anything here. Would LA Latin American and one-on-one with you and Hispanic launch? Yeah, one-on-ones are fine, especially if it's regarding the Hispanic launch. We really are looking for who is going to be that guy or that girl that is the Gloria Nava of these markets, North America and Canada. So that's what we're hoping to identify this month. So if you've got any people that you would like me to talk to, please feel free to see if you can make that happen. All right.
So Carlos, if there's some people that you wanted to connect to Mike, Mike, are there certain times that you have available? You're traveling to Salt Lake City
Until
now?
Wednesday, yeah, I'm good. Thursday to Sunday, I'll be in Salt Lake and then back at it on the following week. All right, folks, thanks very much for joining. Please start practicing your presentation and see what you can make out of it. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Carlos, for taking the time this evening.